Introduction to CI/CD. So what is CI/CD? Well, it has nothing to do with Blu-ray discs for one. It's a software development best practice, and it stands for Continuous Integration and Continuous Delivery or Deployment. CI/CD pipeline implementation is the backbone of the modern DevOps environment. As the diagram shows, that it involves continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring of the software throughout its development lifecycle. The way CI/CD works is that there are 4 stages of the CI/CD pipeline that are to be followed. The first stage is version control. It maintains different versions of the code. The second stage is the continuous integration stage. This stage is responsible for compiling, validating, reviewing, and unit testing, as well as integration testing the code. The third one is continuous delivery. This is responsible for deploying the build application to the test servers. And the last stage is the continuous deployment. This deploys the tested application on the production server for its release. Take a look at this visual demonstration of the workflow you will find in CI/CD. The first thing we have is the code commit. When developers complete a change, they commit that change to the repository. This is what is known as a commit. Beyond that comes building and testing. Source code from the repository is integrated into the build. Once that's done, automated tests are run against the build. The build version is then deployed to production, and the deployment is ready to be delivered to production. These come under code deploy, and the whole system is orchestrated. It's time to move deeper into CI/CD and take a look at what continuous integration is. Developers upload code to a code repository, such as code commit or GitHub. And as soon as that code is pushed, it is checked by a testing or a build server. The developer receives feedback on the tests and checks that either passed or failed. This is really good for identifying issues earlier on and fixes bugs quickly and deploys often as the code is tested. The workflow of continuous integration can be described as follows. So we have multiple developers contributing to a shared code repository like a Git, frequently merging or integrating their code updates. And typically that would be on a daily basis as a minimum. We then have an automated build stage. So when changes appear in the code repository, this triggers an automated build of the new code. And finally, we also have an automated test step as well. So we run automated tests to check the code locally before it gets committed into the master code repository. Now that we know what continuous integration is and how it works, let's move over to continuous delivery and see what that is. With continuous delivery, you can assure that the software can be reliably released whenever it is required. Continuous delivery ensures that deployments occur frequently and quickly. You can move from 1 release every 3 months to 5 releases every day, and that can only be achieved with continuous delivery. Typically, this means automatic deployment, which includes code deploy. Let's take a look at some of the key differences between continuous delivery and continuous deployment. When it comes to continuous delivery, it has the ability to deploy often using automation. It involves a manual step to approve a deployment. The deployment itself is still automated and repeated. When it comes over to continuous deployment, however, it is fully automated. Every code change is deployed all the way to production, and there's no manual intervention of approvals that is required. So moving on to our continuous delivery and continuous deployment workflow, after successful testing, the code gets merged into the master repository. It then gets prepared for deployment, so it gets built, tested, and packaged up, ready for deployment. And then with continuous delivery, there's usually a manual decision. So humans may be involved in the decision regarding where and when to deploy the code, and that is known as continuous delivery. However, that stage can also be fully automated as well. So the system can automatically deploy the new code as soon as it's been prepared for deployment, and that is known as continuous deployment. So let's take a look at some of the developer tools and the environment that AWS provides to enable developers to get started with their CI/CD workflows. So the first thing we have is our source, which is code commit. Code commit provides us the source and version control for our code. Then we have code build. Code build is an automated build service that compiles the source code. And then we have code deploy. Code Deploy provides automated deployment, so it automates code deployments, and that works with any instance or server type. The whole system is orchestrated by CodePipe. Now in the coming sections, we will look at each one of these tools in detail.